Hi everyone, and welcome to welcome to Quantum Acacias. Okay, my name is Dee Dee, and I'm trying to hold it. I really am. Okay. Today we are going to be talking about a really interesting story time. Okay, so with this one, I have to give a disclaimer because, like, if you're just happening on this video and, like, let's just say, like, you're, new to the spiritual journey or something like that, or, like, you're kind of looking into stuff or whatever, some of the things that I say today might, like, I am well aware of the fact that it could sound very crazy. Nonetheless, in life, sometimes there are things that pick you, and that's just how it goes. So I did not call this experience to myself, but it is experience that I had. And so most of the time we have those experiences, right? You just kind of have to like own it. So I'm going to try to talk about it in a very down to earth way as much as I possibly can. Because honestly, like, I had the experience, though I'm not entirely sure what the experience was, and I'll get into that like towards the end of it. Okay, so story time. Like, let's just rip off the band-aid. Okay. The time I was abducted by a praying mantis being, child. Okay. I'm telling you, like, when, like, the deeper that you get into spirituality, and just, like, not even just spirituality, but just along with spirituality comes metaphysics and timelines and different things like that. Like, it's really the, like, out there, like, wild stuff that really is, like, more of the norm. And, like, the longer that I have been immersed in this, like, the wilder it is that someone has not sort of had certain experiences. Like, whatever, like, it's supposed to be, like, quote unquote normal is, like, it just seems even more abnormal. That, like, why is your life so normal? Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, but shout out to people whose lives are normal. I just happen to not be one of those people. So this was definitely tipping the scale of really wild. I mean, I, have a lot of things going on as far as spiritually and all that kind of stuff, and I have, like, since a kid. But this one is definitely more on the side of, like, what? Nonetheless, this is the story, okay? So if you heard my adventures in the astrals, where I talk about my Akashic record reading and the red heifer. Okay, so I forgot exactly what I called it, but I think I might have called it, like, Adventures in the Akashics, and then the red heifer and something. I talk about a woman who I ended up doing an Akashic record reading with, and we were doing, like, an exchange. So she read the Akashic record, so I got a session from her. And then I did QHHT, so she got a QHHT session from me. So actually, her QHHT session was first. Now, it's very interesting because I like to pay attention to who hits me up about QHHT sessions, because energetically, I have really slowed down on QHHT for a number of reasons I'll talk about at some other time, but I'm starting to slowly pick it back up. But it just never fails that, like, the people that I meet are so specific. And so this woman contacted me during a time period where I was actually telling people that I wasn't going to be doing QHHT sessions, and I was giving them recommendations of people that I had gotten sessions from. However, when this woman contacted me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this session because something about this seems like I should do it, okay? So that was in October, and I'm kind of going ahead and then going backwards to set up this kind of scenario that all of this stuff from September to October to November to December which is where we start getting into the Red Heifer prophecy, which I haven't finished those videos yet. But all of these things were strategically being put into place, okay? So anyways, this woman comes for a session, and I'm not saying her name right now, just off of, discretion, because I didn't tell her specifically that I was going to be talking about this on YouTube. So just in case it gets really popular, I didn't say I was going to say her name, so... but anyways, as she was doing my QHH, as she was coming over, we were talking, and she was like, I felt really called to bring you these 2 books by Dolores Cannon. So how I came to Dolores Cannon was not through her videos necessarily, or through her books. That's like a whole story for another day. But anyways, my point is that I hadn't read any of her books. Though maybe I had heard that she had like one, but she has tons of books, which I did not know that. So anyway, she felt called to bring me these 2 books. And so, after her session, we talked and things like that. And I was like, thank you for bringing me these books. I'm going to read them. And so I pick up one of the books, and literally in the book, it talks about this experience I'm going to talk about today. Okay, like literally word for word verbatim. Like, it's absolutely wild. So there is something to this experience, and I haven't quite figured out exactly the components of it though. And like I said, I'll get into that. So, story time. Okay. So it was one day in September 2022. Okay. And I don't remember the exact day, but I'm pretty sure it was sometime like mid-September, okay? And so there was something that was going on that day that I can't remember necessarily, but I think like the whole week was kind of interesting, like leading up to this day. Just with like certain experiences happening. But I can't remember specifically what's going on this particular day though. But anyways, I ended up going to sleep, and as I was sleeping, I like caught awareness, like I usually do in dreams. I like catch awareness, and I realized that I was staring at this huge version of myself in the cosmos. So a lot of the time, I'd say like at least 60% of my dreams happen like in the cosmos or in some type of space or, some parallel life or something like that. And so that wasn't that like surprising, but I was seeing like this like literal like 15 foot, 16 foot, 20 foot. I don't even know how big she was, like this version of me was. She was like ginormous, because she was just like in the middle of the cosmos. So I didn't have anything to really reference it on how gigantic she was, but it was me though. And I was staring at myself as this giant or giantess, I guess. And it was like there were 3 energy waves coming off of me vertically. Okay, like from like the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, there was 3 different like energy waves vertically coming off of my body. And my head looked like a projector screen. And so I knew that I was like streaming data. It was so wild. I was like streaming data, okay? So it was literally like when you see like end of life movies or whatever, and they're like showing like all these flashes of everything that you've like done on Earth, and it's just like multitudes of flashes and flashes of all these different scenes and stuff. That's literally what it looked like. But I had 3 different, I feel like, timelines, I guess, that were streaming data. And I knew that I was also like sending that data down to Earth, because I could see Earth like kind of down and below me. And it was almost like I was sending these energy waves to Earth, okay? So I'm not entirely sure that the information and data was necessarily mine and my lives, or I was like sending data of 3 different timelines to Earth, okay? And so I'm like looking and I'm processing it. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, because the amount of information that I get every day just through interactions, and then sometimes I'm researching and through dreams, it's just like, it's so much stuff to process. So I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. And so I'm like, okay, is this like a shell of me? Is this another version of me? Because I was the consciousness flowing through that aspect. So I was not actively in that body, so to speak. And so I didn't know like what exactly that was, but I knew that it was definitely like a part of my consciousness somewhere. And so then as I was kind of looking at it, I was also realizing that that was like the right side of my awareness. And that's the best way I can describe it. Like almost like it was connected to my right eye, but that's all that I could see. So this was like encompassing everything, but it was like the right side of my vision. And so I thought to myself, like, okay, well, where's the left side of my vision? What's going on with the left side of my vision? So then I tune into the left side of my vision. And when I see the left side of my vision, I see like the streaming thing like in the background. And it's like I've turned my perspective to the left, which was in the same place, relatively speaking, but now I could see like the right kind of in my peripheral, and then the left was like the focus. Okay, so in the left side there was this huge dentist chair, I kid you not, a huge dentist chair. And this dentist chair had like this big huge light, like a spotlight kind of. And it did look kind of like the dentist lights, because I think it is set up like that where they have a light over you. But this light that was actually over top of me looked more like the spinning thing for like the semen truck. Child, did I say semen trucks? Whoa. I meant to say what? The cement truck. Child, what? Okay, let me get myself together, because where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? Okay, not semen trucks, the cement trucks. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me take my time with this. Okay, the cement trucks. Okay, and you know how they have the trucks and the cement is spinning around, and I guess it keeps the cement liquid instead of solid or something. So it looked like that, kind of like there was a part of it that was revolving, but there was a light coming out of it. And so I was seeing another version of myself sitting in this chair. And so her arm was like, one of her arms was strapped down and the other arm was free, but she looked kind of out of it. And so I was like, what is going on over here? So anyways, as I'm like curious that I'm getting closer, I began to merge with this aspect of myself. And so now I'm in the chair and I'm trapped. And so I'm like, dang, that's not what I was trying to do. But then I'm like, okay, I guess I should figure out how to get out of this chair. So anyways, as I'm sitting in the chair and I'm trying to figure out how to get the strap off my arm, there's literally a rock being. Like, I don't know how to say it any differently, but he literally was made of like rock. And there's specifically like the rock that's in Sedona, that it's like multicolored, like sedentary or sedimentary. I forgot exactly how you pronounce it. Rock, where it's different colors and different like striations in the rock, and they're like horizontal different colors. So there's like red rock, of course, which is in Sedona. There's the red rocks. They're red and kind of orangish and brown. I feel like there were some yellows or yellow hues in there as well. And so this being was literally a rock being, okay? And he was coming up messing with the light and stuff. And I was like, who the heck are you? I'm like, who are you? And so he was like, look, this man and I'm going to get to why I'm saying it's a man in a second. This man literally said, "You don't remember me?" And I'm like, let me check my memory bank if I remember a big old rock being talking to me in English. I'm like, do you even think that I would actually be able to forget that? But obviously I must have, because I didn't remember who he was. So do you know what he did? Look, this man literally shapeshifted into a actual praying mantis to be like, and he was like, "Do you remember me now?" I'm like, what? Do you know on Earth, like, mantises and rocks don't speak English? What do you mean, do I remember you now? I'm like, you literally went from a rock to an insect. And no, like, the answer is no. The answer is absolutely not. No, I do not. And so he got frustrated. He was like, just don't even worry about it. I'm like, how is the mantis the one that's upset here? Because I'm the one that's strapped down to this chair. So anyways, child, he pulls out this huge, long needle. Okay? Oh my goodness gracious. He pulls out this huge long needle and he sticks it into the palm of my hand. I kid you not. And I was in so much pain. I was like, ouch. And so I'm like trying to wiggle my arm out because that was the one that was actually strapped down. So I'm like trying to wiggle my arm. I'm like, these restraints are like really crazy. I'm like, this hurts. And he was like, well, yeah, I'm trying to get this out of your hand because you need to get this out of your hand. I'm like, I need to get what out of my hand? But it was also like, so this is my left arm. And I know that that's supposed to be like your receiving energy hand. And so he was like saying something about like he was pulling something out and it was hurting because it was going against the energetic grain. So he was pulling it out and that's like a suctioning in hand. But it was also a huge needle too. So I'm like, okay. And even my arm is starting to like hurt even thinking about it because it was so painful. I was like, you are crazy and get away from me. And he was like, just hush. Like he was like acting like I was being like a child or something. I'm like, you are literally sticking this thing in my hand and it is so painful. I'm not being a child here. And so then, what did he say? He said something else. And then I was like, okay, I need to get on up out of here. I forgot what else he said. He said something. I was like, nah, I need to get up out of here. So besides that being the interesting thing, the even more interesting thing is that when I woke up, I kid you not, like I am not even playing around. Okay. I kid you not. When I woke up, I literally had the tiniest brown scar, in the space where he stuck the needle. I'm not I'm not even playing. I'm not even playing. There was the tiniest brown, like, little scar. Like, it was literally, like, the size of, like, a pinpoint, okay? And my arm was in pain. Like, if I had not remembered that dream or astral or whatever it was in detail, I would have thought that I had carpal tunnel. And this wrist has always been kind of bad in general. So I'm like, have they been sticking me like all my life or something like that? Because why would I remember him? Do you know what I'm saying? And I've always had problems with these wrists. But I could literally when I woke up, my arm was literally in pain. It wasn't enough for me to go to the doctor because I saw that like scar and I was like, nah, they're not about to like keep me overnight for testing. And then next thing you know, I'm gonna end up like in some bunker somewhere. I'm laughing, but I'm so serious. I'm like, hell no, they're not about to try to check me in and be like, ma'am, what happened to your arm? Like, child, I don't know. So I just kind of wrote it out and it was there for about like 2 weeks or so. And so, and then the even more, I've got to talk about this other thing too, cause child, it's been a it's been a crazy ride, to be honest with you. But there's another thing I'm going to talk about, like, in relation to these, because my palms ended up changing as well. And then I ended up having a burn, move to a different place. Like, it's a lot. But now where that spot is, it's not a scar anymore. But I did notice, like, even when it was a scar at first, there's like this little tiny thing where I'm pretty sure that there's something like right underneath the skin where that scar was. But I have another one, which I don't remember this one. So I guess whatever laughing gas I was supposed to get last time that didn't work, they made sure that it worked this time. Oh gosh. So I have another one, but that one doesn't seem to have something underneath it, but they put it like really close on this line on my palm. So I don't know if it's like right under, like if it's in the groove or something like that. But this first one, I can still feel the little thing. And I've definitely been curious. I'm like, I wish that I had like a friend that like could just numb my hand and do like a quick surgery to like pull this thing out right quick. But it like irritates the nerves in my wrist so badly. It's so annoying. So yeah, and then the funny thing is, so I've been writing down my dreams for about like, since the very, very end of 2019. And in October, so before the session with the woman who brought me the dream, in October, I got this strong urge to literally delete all of the freaking, all of the notes that I had up until that September. Like, I had lost some of them. So like I lost like 2019 to like 2021. I lost those like in the process of moving, and like I ended up having this was so crazy. One of my phones, like literally I was headed to Sedona. This was so crazy too, because that should have probably been a sign that something was up too. But so July 2021, like right when we got to Sedona, we got there like on our anniversary, the very end of June. And so we were supposed to be taking a trip and meeting friends in July, the end of July. And literally on the day, was it the day that we were leaving to go to Sedona? It was I think it was like the day before we were leaving to go to Sedona. Literally my phone like went black and I lost all of the data. And I was like, what? How does that happen? Like, literally, I lost all of the data the day before going to Sedona. And I was just like, you have got to be kidding me. But we already had this thing planned with my friend and everything. So I'm like, I have to, like, figure out how to get the phone, like, a new phone, and then still go. So I think I was able to get, like, a new phone the next day. And then I just had to, like, hold the other one. And I lost anyways, but after this scenario, I ended up losing the information from 2021 up until that September 2022. So like a year and some change worth of data I ended up deleting. And then afterwards, I was like, oh my gosh, it has got to be the aliens. The aliens didn't want me to hold on to the information. Child. Oh my gosh, they didn't want me to hold on to it, obviously. So, child, this life is really crazy. Like, I'm just not even convinced that we're not even dreaming. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, so the reason that I say I'm not entirely sure, like, what this actually is, though, is because today, I was actually looking at something where there's this doctor called, like, Dr. Jose Delgado, and he did, like, these experiments with bowls where they put implants in people. In the bowls, whatever. And they were able to make the bowl stop its aggression. And there was a guy that was talking about one of this doctor's books, and he said, if you've read this book, then you know about the abductions happening in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and that some of the abductions that were going on probably are not ET or extraterrestrial at all. And some of them probably are more terrestrial than we realize. And I was thinking about what he said, and I'm like, well, how could they literally like take me out of my bed or something like that and then implant this thing or take it out? I'm not exactly sure which one. And then put me back, and it just seemed like I went to sleep or whatever, because I was also laying next to my husband, so it's not like I was in the room by myself. But then I got to thinking about Al Bielek. And if you haven't heard of Al Bielek, he talks about the Philadelphia experiment. And he said he also was a part of Montauk and Monarch and some of the earlier projects. And he said that he actually went to 2137. And he was talking about in his autobiography how they were able to take homeless kids off the streets and then bring them into the lab some type of way. I forgot exactly how. So I don't really know either way how all of that stuff happens or what's going on with it. But I also heard is his name Dr. Lear? I'm not entirely sure if that's what this guy's name is, but there's a guy that talks about the government and stuff like that, and interdimensional beings and stuff. I can't remember his name right now, but he said that they have technology to cloak themselves and look like ETs and ET costumes and stuff. I cannot remember this guy's name right now. I don't think it is Dr. Lear. Dr. Lear is the guy who did the surgeries and said that he removed alien implants, what he believed were alien implants during surgeries. But there's another guy, and I cannot think of his name right now. Maybe it's Greer. Maybe his name is Greer, not Lear, but Greer. And he talks about interdimensional beings and how the government has cloaking technology. So a lot of the alien abductions are actually military. Now, how they would do that is a whole nother mystery. So yeah, that's the story time for today. That's the crazy one for today. And yeah, I will definitely be back with more adventures in the astrals and all of those different fun things. I probably will start talking about some of the QHHT sessions that I've done as well, because a lot of them have been interesting. But yeah, that's all for right now. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to comment down below, email me, something like that. Check the description box below, all those fun things, and I will be back soon. All right, friends. Bye.